Our next speaker, His Excellency Dr. Didacus Jules, is no stranger to CXC, and certainly no stranger to education in the Caribbean. Dr. Jules has extensive regional and international experience. Dr. Jules assumed the position of Director General of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States in May 2014. He served as Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Examinations Council from 2008 to 2014. Dr. Jules could be considered as the Moses of the CXC new headquarters. He championed the cause of the new building, but never made it to this promised land. He found his promised land in his homeland, St. Lucia. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to have Dr. Didacus Jules to bring remarks. Dr. Didacus Jules.
The Right Honorable Fondel Stewart, Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable Ronald Jones, Minister of Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, other members of the Cabinet of Barbados, Honorable Mia Motley, Leader of the Opposition, Vice Chancellor Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Dr. Marcia Potter, Deputy Chair, Sir Roy Auger, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Mr. Glenroy Cumberbatch, Registrar of CXC, Dr. Granston, Pro-Registrar Acting, heads of regional institutions, former chairs, deputy chairs, registrars and pro-registrars, members of the governance committees, Dr. Justin Robinson, principals of tertiary and secondary institutions, CXC retirees, members of staff, our neighbors, ladies and gentlemen, all. There are historical moments when an event is more than it appears to be, and when the material reality that we see and touch speaks to something deeper, something more transcendent than the immediate. We are here today to commemorate the official opening of the new CXC headquarters. But what we celebrate today is something deeper, and what this building portends is a greater challenge than we have previously imagined. This building is not just a building. It is more than just glass, concrete, and steel. It is the architectural expression of more than 25 years of aspiration by the Council to find a home that was fit for purpose, an environment whose design was predicated on the processes of quality assurance, efficiency, and productivity. Today is when a building is an annunciation of the future. On assuming office as Registrar in April 2008, my first courtesy call was to the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable David Thompson, with a PowerPoint printout, as Cleveland indicated earlier, of the conditions of work at the Garrison Headquarters building that highlighted the lack of space, the leaking roof, the electrical hazards, and other conditions inimical to the guarantee of secure, error-free, and high-quality examinations. Prime Minister Thompson was appalled and immediately committed his fullest support to the acceleration of efforts that were already on the table for a new headquarters. We remember him today for this commitment, and we also acknowledge the faithful fulfillment of this promise by his successor, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Fondel Stewart, the unwavering assistance of Minister of Education, the Honorable Ronald Jones, and the steadfast support of the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Mia Motley. This building, with the support of all sides of the Parliament of Barbados, with the input of staff from across all departments of the organization, with the facilitation of public servants in Barbados, is the reality that we celebrate today. This building is not just a building. It is the embodiment of the future of educational assessment for the Caribbean, an IT intelligent, digitally enabled, efficiency streamlined, and collaboration supported workspace. It has been said that sometimes, in seeking to shape the future, organizations overlook their greatest assets which resides in their past. The opening of this magnificent edifice is a massive statement of confidence by the Barbados government that the future contribution of CXC will be as significant as has been its historical record of the past 43 years. That historical record shows that the government of Barbados was committed to the idea of a Caribbean examinations construct from its inception and at every stage of planning. Indeed, the first meeting to discuss the formation of CXC was held in Barbados in August 1964, and it was at this meeting that the offer by Prime Minister the Right Honorable Errol Barrow to host the CXC headquarters was tabled. But what does the past tell us about the future? The story of CXC is not just the story of an education examination board. As the recently published history of CXC written by Professor Bryant attests, it is ultimately the narrative of the struggle for mental emancipation in the sphere of education. It is an important chapter in the struggle to free ourselves of the hegemonic embrace of the empire, a struggle which unfortunately is far from finished. The evidence of this lingering legacy is seen in the persistence of self-doubt, even in leadership circles in education across the region today, who still argue about the legitimacy of CXC certification. It is the chokehold of empire that is felt in the timidity to define ourselves, despite the indisputable historical record that we have not just shaped certification that has defined us to the world, but which can also contribute to the self-definition of others with whom we share a common history. The finger of the past points the future to the imperative of continuous improvement. All Caribbean organizations, whether national or regional, need to be on this journey if they are to properly serve the people of this region. We must develop a culture of intolerance to mediocrity. We must move with passion to provide service of the greatest excellence that meets and exceeds the highest standards of global competitiveness. Our people deserve no less. As I have done on countless occasions, I again appeal to the governments and to the ministries of education to rally more closely with CXC in a concerted campaign to create a culture of learning and creativity in this region. CXC is well placed with its extensive records of student performance spanning almost 40 years to create an ecosystem with a tight nexus of teaching, learning, and assessment to make Caribbean education world-class. The new generation certifications, such as the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment and the new CAPE subjects, place us ahead of many of the international assessment boards. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and above all, colleagues of CXC, this building is not just a building. In its green design, its fitness for purpose, its IT neural system, it is the prototype for Caribbean public service in the 21st century. This building is not just a building. It is a hall of excellence housing the creative talent of this region, a temple that should feed the fires of innovation and a symbol of a committed partnership. This building is not just a building. In the simple, elegant profile it presents on this rock of pride that is Barbados, it symbolizes the far-sightedness of the vision and the clarity of the mission. It is a material reminder of the promise of, quote, assuring the global human resource competitiveness of the Caribbean through the provision of quality assurance in education and comprehensive certification. And in this embodiment, it must be an impregnable vault in which the sanctity and international currency of Caribbean certification must be safeguarded. David Allan Corr said, and I quote, "It is not the beauty of a building you should look at. It is the construction of the foundation that will stand the test of time," unquote. We say today, let us gaze with satisfaction on the architectural beauty of this building, but look beyond this to see the foundation of vision, the pillars of accomplishment, the windows of opportunity that it represents. This building is not just a building.
Thank you very much, Dr. Didacus